Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about The Damnation Game by Clive Barker. And this is probably, I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, this is probably my favorite Clive Barker novel. It's everything I love about Clive Barker. It's everything I love about Hellraiser, which, you know, people get themselves into these demonic deals and then spend their lives trying to cheat their way out of them. And that being said, you know, Clive Barker doesn't shy away from making these demonic entities or like these evil entities completely evil, right? There's no bargaining. There's no rational way you're going to get out of it, but it's still fun to see people try. And that's really what this novel is all about. Basically, people play a game. You know, think of the puzzle box in a way, but it's actually games of chance. And if they win, they'll get, you know, usually whatever prize or whatever they ask for. But if they lose, right, then like something unspeakable will happen to them. Yeah. There are things worse than death. There are games so seductively evil, so wondrously vile, no gambler can resist. Amid the shadow-scarred rubble of World War II, Joseph Whitehead dared to challenge the dark. Champion of life's ultimate game. Now a millionaire locked in the terror-shrouded fortress of his own design, Joseph Whitehead has hell to pay, and no soul is safe from the ravaging fear, the resurrected fury, the unspeakable debts of the Damnation Game. So yes, this book follows not really Joseph Whitehead that much, but actually the guy he hires to protect him, whose name is Marty, and I can't remember his last name, but he is basically an ex-con who comes out of prison and is given a job by Mr. Whitehead to protect the grounds. And while he doesn't necessarily get a whole list of things he's supposed to protect against, he very quickly picks up on the fact that there is a lot more going on in this scary fortress, right? Joseph Whitehead owes debts that really can't be repaid because they're to something horribly evil. Yeah, there is a lot in this book that I don't want to give away. I don't want to spoil this book. I do think this is one of my favorite Clive Barker books. I think this is one of his best books. So if you are a Clive Barker fan, or you're new to Clive Barker and you want to get into Clive Barker or whatever, like The Damnation Game, 110%. I know a lot of people throw out Weave World and stuff like that, but yeah, no. The Damnation Game, 110% is the one I always recommend. It's like when I recommend Salem's Lot to people who are fans of Stephen King. The Damnation Game is always my go-to book with Clive Barker. So I really don't want to give a whole bunch away. But what I do really love about this book is the fact that there are rules. I like rules in horror. I think Clive Barker's really good at setting up rules for the most part. And yeah, in the Damnation Game, if you don't allow yourself to be seduced by what you could win or the idea of winning or any of that, and you don't play the game, then, you know, your life and your soul and all that's not on the line. But it's so easy for people to be seduced into it that, yeah, even when they know it's wrong, they'll go for it. And which I've always liked about Clive Barker's fiction. Even, you know, he does it in the Books of Blood a lot too, right? People's egos, people's wants get in their own way. And I think that's very real. Right? I mean, it's like when people watch horror movies and they're like, well, that's stupid. I would never do that in real life. In reality, they would probably do that in real life to a certain point. And that plays out in the Damnation Game a whole lot. Yeah, there's not a whole lot I can really say without giving too much away. I know I keep saying that. It's probably super annoying, but I really don't want to spoil this book for anyone because this is an amazing book. If a scary stranger ever shows up in anywhere when you're down on your luck and offers to play a game and calls you a pilgrim, just say no and run away. Yeah, there's 100% read this book. If you've read this book before, you liked this book, you didn't like this book, let me know in the comments below. If there's other books like this you think I should read, let me know in the comments below. Yeah, it says, I've seen the future of horror, and its name is Clive Barker, Stephen King. So I don't know if you read it, but I'm going to take it as a sign that Stephen King did in fact read this and agrees with me that this is the best, or at least one of the best, Clive Barker books there is. I mean, if you like Hellraiser and you've seen the Hellraiser movies, I mean, you need to read this book because it really feels like you could take out the main, the big bad at some point and replace him with Pinhead, and he's doing a 3-card Monty. And that's kind of like the vibe throughout this book. I love the way it gets into Joseph Whitehead's paranoia of a man that's trying to like outsmart the devil, essentially. I thought that was a lot of fun. It was interesting to see, Marty kind of trying to stay away from it, but also starting to slip into the paranoia himself, right? I mean, you have a guy that's just been locked up for 6 years, and now you've thrown him into this like paranoid, unstable household where everyone's literally jumping at shadows from a nameless evil that they won't even speak about. So he doesn't know what's going on, but he also can't leave the grounds, right? Because Mr. Whitehead, of course, knows that he's an ex-con. He doesn't have a lot of options, and I do believe this book takes place in England. And while I'm not 100% sure the way English laws work, I know in America, like if you, a lot of times like on parole and stuff, like part of your parole, I think a lot of times is keeping a stable job. So essentially he's traded one prison for another because Mr. Whitehead could, or Joseph Whitehead, I don't know why I keep calling him Mr. Whitehead, Joseph Whitehead could obviously have him thrown back in jail for some minor grievance, or even just for firing him. At least in America. I don't know if that's how it works elsewhere, but yeah, I mean, so there's a lot going on in this book. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. I can't say enough good things about this.